Hello everyone, this is Hersh Bhardwaj and today we are going to do a homage, not a review, a homage or a tribute to one of the most successful web series of all times, Stranger Things. This is Hersh Bhardwaj. I am doing this from India. India has a huge following for Stranger Things. That's why I'm hearing about it from everywhere. There are people, fans, there are fan clubs on Twitter, everywhere in India. You might not know how big it is in India. So we're going to talk on 5 different pointers. I'm a literary critic. I do reviews of books and films and web series. So 5 different pointers we're going to talk about, and we'll try to understand from an Indian perspective what Stranger Things means to us. So content wise, I am really riveted by the whole characterization. So when we talk about content, we talk about content, plot, story, characters. Is there any social relevance to the people watching, especially when I'm doing it in India, whether we have any social relevance. So I told you that it applies very much, it resonates very much with one of our Indian mythological anecdotes, and we understand this concept of upside down in India. Characters are fantastic. This is what really impressed me in the first season, that the 2 of the main characters, Chief Hopper and Joyce, mother of the disappeared kid Will, their characters develop in every series over a period of time, and in every episode there is something new happening. There is a backstory to these characters. The 4 kids, Dustin, Will, Mike and Lucas, they also develop during the seasons, not so much in the first season itself, but in season 2, season 3 you can actually see them growing up. That's a great thing. Plot has a lot of subplots around it, so that's something really well directed and well conceptualized. Now the only thing that troubled me when I am looking at the content, though it's a fantastic concept, very simple and very beautifully executed, I thought that this concept works on 2 levels. On the literal level, monsters are let loose and they create havoc on the earth. On the metaphorical level, I thought it's about our inner demons and monsters coming out, and how do we control them. And we also have a parallel to this idea in our Indian mythology, that the Devi Kali is the one who kills all the monsters. So those monsters are symbolically the monsters which are inside us, all our weaknesses, desires, that she kills them. So I always thought when I was watching this Stranger Things that the metaphorical level is also working, because the characters, some of the main characters, they're also fighting their own monsters, internal monsters. But this metaphorical take on the concept only happens in season 1. From season 2 onwards, they really get into the literal scene. The monster is out, the monsters are out, and there is just a full-on battle between the man and the monsters, and it becomes a regular Hollywood thing of monster hunting. So slightly not very excited about that metaphorical thing not happening, so forced to rate, I will rate it at 6.3 out of 10. So that is my rating for the content, 6.3 out of 10. Let's talk about the performance. This is where the rubber hits the road. It doesn't matter how well it's written, doesn't matter how well it's directed. Again, direction is also one of the performance. But at the end of the day, the kind of casting that was done, the 4 kids who were casted for the main primary leads, they've done fantastic acting, they've performed really well. And that's the key reason for the success of this series. I've seen a lot of series where kids are casted completely wrongly. 2 of the major characters, Winona Ryder, who plays Joyce. Winona, I remember from Bram Stoker's Dracula, directed by Ford Coppola. I also remember her from that Johnny Depp movie, Edward Scissorhands, long ago. I think that was her first movie. She must have been 16 or 17. She has played the role of a troubled mother, 2 sons. Husband is not there, single mother trying to manage things. She has a past, she has a backstory. She's performed fantastically well. You can always see that there is some backstory behind her. The another main character is Chief of Police Chief Hopper. Hopper starts off as a troubled police officer sent from bigger town to this smaller town, as a kind of a punishment. He is like the main block of the entire series. Everything revolves around him. Fantastic. So the acting performance is amazingly done. The direction, the Duffer Brothers, who we know from their previous movie in Hollywood, Hidden. The executive producer Sean Levy, who's part of Night of the Museum series. The production, the direction, we'll talk about the technical side in the next section. The acting, the direction, everything fantastic. I'll give it 7.5 out of 10. So let's talk about the most amazing part of Stranger Things, because of which it has become a cult. The technical finesse. Because of the amazing VFX and the artsy side of the sets, the motion graphics, the whole conceptualization. It's so amazingly done that they have not relied simply on the chroma screens or the VFXs. They conceptualize the world of the Demogorgon, the shadow monster, the entire sets. Watch the behind the scenes shoots and edits of that, and the way they thought about it is a testimony to what they've done. It's another benchmark, at least in the TV and the web series industry. It's a huge benchmark that I think it will take a lot of efforts to reach. They've set a huge benchmark. So simply on the fact that it's a new benchmark in the technical side of the TV and the web industry, I'll give it 7.5 out of 10. The next section is music. Now, when we're thinking about a web series or a TV series, we don't normally think about music, do we? So for us, the music is just the background score which happens on its own. So we don't even take notice. But people like Hans Zimmerman, the great Hollywood background score musicians, they have only done background score, and they are the legends, cult figures of our times. So the background track was so crucial for Stranger Things that when I watched the music directors Kyle and Michaels, the guys who've done the background and the original tracks, they said that music became an accessory to tell the story. So music is not a supplementary or something that is extra added to the story. Music was part of the way the whole story was told. And you can see it when you're watching Stranger Things, apart from the action and the horror and the fantastical, all those elements that are coming in the music. When music is more like the soul of the entire storytelling, and not simply with the background score, but also the kind of tracks, external tracks that they've used very relevantly and appropriately in areas where they would need it. For that, I'll give music a rating of 7 out of 10, simply because music makes it very much watchable. The last section that I use when I review films and TV and web series is the genre success. It's kind of interesting one, because why do I use genre success? Because I come from a professional publishing industry department, and we talk about books in very specific genres, even in the distribution systems and in the systems when the films are distributed, books are distributed. They talked about is it a horror? They're very strict pigeonholes that they talk about in commercial terms. So this Stranger Things came out as a horror / supernatural genre. So one, whether it's a success in that horror / supernatural genre, yes, it is very much so. Another point is whether does it cross over to other genres? Does it probably cross over to the sci-fi genre? Does it cross over to the paranormal and gives you the crossover feeling of different genres? So we have horror, fantasy, supernatural, paranormal, thriller, sci-fi. So it's kind of a mix and a very successful working mix of all those genres. So that's why I'll give it 6 out of 10. For Indian audience, it's kind of interesting because it starts off as a scientific project, because there is a Hawkins lab from which the monster escapes out. But it also works on the spiritual slash metaphorical level for us, because we understand the mythology behind us. So it's even more interesting for us. So it's not simply a sci-fi thing for us. So even though in America it probably will work like a sci-fi genre, in India it can act as a fantasy slash supernatural paranormal genre. So it works in a lot of different genres and it works well. So 6 out of 10 for that. So based on 5 categories that we talked about, as I said, it's not a review. I absolutely love the show. It's a homage, it's a tribute to the show, but because we have to put numbers against each categories, and I've been very honest about the content side, why I was expecting a little more in the content side in terms of making it a bit more metaphorically relevant. So that's where I've given it less than 7. So overall the score is 6.86 out of 10. That is coming from an Indian lover of this show, and I'm sure it's not reflective of the worldwide love it has received. And Stranger Things 4, we are eagerly awaiting everyone in this beautiful country of ours, and we look forward to watch it. Until then, goodbye. This is Hersh Bhardwaj. Thank you.